take a moment, shed a tear. This is the last video for this module. Well, for this week. This module is split into two halves. We're going to talk about perimeter and area of quadrilaterals and triangle. So we got a bunch of formulas here. You don't have to memorize the formulas. Open book, open notes, but the formulas are here for reference. Hopefully you know where they are. You can come back and look at them, okay? It could be a good idea if you took all the formulas from all these videos. I should have said this at the beginning, and put them on a single piece of paper. Have it for reference. Could be a good studying tool. Anyway, here's what we got. Perimeter is the sum of all the sides. Area is the size of the inside. Okay? So I like how perimeter has a nice formula for two of these. This one just says add them all up. This one just says add them all up. Here we got these. Okay? So a note on your units. If you're talking about a distance, perimeter is kind of a length. It is a length. Lengths have just normal units like feet, yards, inches, meters, kilometers. But area is going to have like that squared. So feet squared, yards squared, miles squared, kilometers squared, etc. Make sure to write it this way. In your homework, units are important. Okay, so let's find the perimeter and the area. It tells you it's a quadrilateral, which is nice. That tells you that it's one of these three. It's not a triangle, in case you thought this was a triangle. It's a parallelogram. So the area of a parallelogram is the base times the height, and the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So here's what we do. We do that. So example 611. We need to find the perimeter. So the perimeter, often abbreviated P, is going to be the sum of all the sides. And you might say, Jason, that's a terrible parallelogram. And you'd be right. But that's not very important or very helpful to say. The perimeter is the sum of all the sides, but what are these two sides? That's where we have to go back to the last video. Remember, opposite angles and opposite sides are the same length for parallelograms. So we can fill this in, say this is also 4 centimeters. This is also 2.3 centimeters. Perimeter, add them all up. All right, 2.3 plus 2.3 plus 4 plus 4. Or you could say 2 times 2.3 plus 2 times 4. That also works. So add these all up, and we're going to get 4.6 plus 8, which should be 12.6 centimeters. Perimeter is a length, so it's going to be centimeters here. My cat just made some very strange noises, but I think he's okay. And for the area, we were told in the notes that the area is the base times the height. The base is this height. Sorry, the base is the base. The base is the bottom. So the base is that 4 centimeters. And the height is this vertical distance right here, 2 centimeters. So multiply them together and you get 8. And the units are still in centimeters, but now it's an area, so it'll be centimeters squared. And if you ever forget this formula, you can look it up in your notes. Or you can think of a parallelogram as a square and 2 triangles. But that involves a little bit more work. And by a little bit more work, I mean it requires a lot more work. You would have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find this length, and then you'd add up 3 areas. 2 of them are the same, but it's one thing you could do. Let's do the last example. 612. Now this one, we need to find the perimeter and the area again. So we look at the, all right, perimeter and area. Shape is not drawn to scale. So this is kind of like mine. So maybe this length looks short. Maybe this length is really big. Who knows? Okay. Or maybe the angles are a little off. That's what that means. So you say, okay, let's see. What kind of quadrilateral is this? So I can use my area formula. And you say, well, doesn't look like any of these. So how can I use the area formula? It's not a quadrilateral. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a quintilateral. I'm not sure if that's a real word, but I just made it up. So the perimeter, though, is still just adding up all the sides. The area, we can divide this into a triangle and a rectangle by looking at this right here. But if we add up all the sides, we're missing a side. Okay? So, let's get down to business. Let's draw this. Draw a little sketch on our own paper, or maybe you have your own paper yourself. It's all in yards. We got 4 yards, 6 yards, 9 yards, 5 yards, and something. Maybe we'll call it X for now. And eventually, right, we're going to find the area, and the area is going to be the area of this triangle plus the area of this rectangle. But to find the perimeter, we need to know how long this is. So we don't know what this is. We also don't know what this is. We know that x plus y has to equal 6 yards because this shape right here is a rectangle. Okay. Another thing that doesn't really help us too much because we can't, right, x plus y equals 6. This is true, but I can't solve for either one of these because there's 2 variables. So this question's getting a little more tricky, right? So let's look at the triangle. A lot of times if you're stuck, just move on to something else. And eventually if you move on to everything and you're still stuck, that's a good time to ask. So let's look at this triangle now. The triangle has y, has 5. We don't know the base of the triangle either, but the base of the triangle we can figure out, right? Because this right here is 4 yards. Because it's a rectangle. It's the same 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top. Let me try that again. 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top. So actually we do know the bottom of the triangle is 3 yards. So in this triangle has a base of 3, a height of y, a hypotenuse of 5. If only we knew how to find the third side in a right triangle, and we do. Pythagoras coming to help us and save the day. So we're going to look at this small triangle first. Let's just look at the triangle. Triangle has a base of 3, a height of y, hypotenuse of 5. This is going to be one of those special 3, 4, 5 triangles. But let's say you forgot or don't recognize that it's one of those special triangles. We'll use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus y squared, or b squared, equals 5 squared. Hold on. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is the formula. Let's write down the formula first. Well, a squared, that's 3 squared. B squared, we don't know what that is. We'll call it y squared. C squared is the hypotenuse. That's 5 squared. And again, I'm going to go through this quickly. You can look at the old video for help on Pythagorean theorem. But as we're solving this, we go through the steps and we should get y squared equals 16. So y is equal to plus or minus 4, but we throw out the minus part. Y is just 4. And again, the reason there's a minus there is if we square negative 4, squaring negative 4 still gives us 16. So this is 4 up there. Important information, but not our final answer. So if this is 4, and the whole side is 6, we know that 4 plus x equals 6, right? We wrote that down right here. So x, subtract 4 from both sides, has to be 2. And now we know all the information. So we needed to find the perimeter and the area, but we were missing some sides. So we used what we knew about rectangles and triangles to try to find those sides. And that's the hardest part of this whole module. So don't be intimidated too much, and don't hesitate to ask for help if you struggle at finding the right place to start. Okay? So what we've got here, we have all the information now. Perimeter, adding up all the sides. Make sure you remember where you start so you don't add too many sides. So it's going to be 6 plus 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 4. There are 5 sides. We don't add the 4. We only look at the outside. So we add that all up together, 13, 18, 20, 24. And again, I've given you an incomplete answer. It's not just 24. It's 24 yards. That's our perimeter. Let's include the perimeter in our box. Perimeter is 24 yards. The area is going to take a little bit more work, right? This diagram's getting a little full. I'm going to copy this again. 4, 6, 2, 5. And then this part is 4. This part is 3. This part is 4. So the area of the whole thing is going to be the area of the rectangle plus the area of the triangle. Okay? So our area is going to be the area of the first thing plus the area of the second thing. Area of a rectangle is base times height. Area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height. Well, they're different bases and different heights though. So I'm going to call this base 1 and height 1, give a little subscript. And this is going to be the base of the triangle and the height of the triangle. So the subscripts just show that this B is different from this B. We'll call this B1 and B2. So the base of the rectangle is 4 yards times the height of the rectangle is 6 yards. Plus 1/2 the base of the triangle is 3 yards times the height of the triangle is 4 yards, and use a calculator to finish this off. You should get 24 plus 6 is equal to 30. And we want to include units, so we're going to put yards. I made another mistake. What's the mistake that I made here? Right, this is area. And again, let's include area in the answer. Labeling this answer as a perimeter, this answer as an area. Area is two-dimensional. It's not a length. It's an area. It's a space. So our answer is going to be in yards squared. Okay, and that's it for this module. Yeah, we saved the best one for the last. All right, there's going to be a couple of these coming up. Be on the lookout. Ask questions. Good luck. Enjoy your math-filled week. English is hard.